going through the basic steps of testing for cross-site scripting to see if the site's vulnerable. So this is like a standard form where a user would be allowed to post a comment. And what we did is we logged in as the user, Joe Valella or JV, and we posted a message, and in that message, we put the script in there that we saw, which was basically this right here. I'm not going to post it again, but I'll just retype it so you can see and hear me at the same time. So this is like the standard YouTube version. Even if you look hard enough, you'll find this is how we check to see, if the site's vulnerable to cross-site scripting. So we posted that, and as a result of posting that, what happened was this. So we know, all right, great, we can cross-site script ourselves. But then we have to basically go and see if it affects other users that way. And one of the things that we have to remember is if you effectively want to test cross-site scripting, you have to really have at least 2 accounts that you're using, because you want one to act as the person planning the script, and then you want a second account to see what it would be if a second user account with a completely different session visits that same site and runs that same script. How will it affect them? So that's kind of why we like to tell you to at least have 2 authenticated accounts that you're using to test for this. So JV, or Joe Valella, planted the script. We can see it affects him. So we're going to log out from his account and then log in as JM, which is another user, just to see if he's affected. So if he goes and views messages, and absolutely we can see that even with JM's account, which is a new session, he's still affected, the same way. He gets his cookie popped up as well. So the next step is I have this other server, this Joomla server stood up, right? And what we're going to do is see if we can, in this directory, I have this grabcookie.php file, and it's just, like, hey, I'm learning PHP type style PHP, nothing advanced here. So it's going to, grab that cookie if the script actually takes it out of the browser session, and write that cookie to a text file in this local directory named cookiejar.txt. So first thing is, in our cross-site script on the other server, the Windows server, we have to see if we can put a pointer in there to point it to this server and make it execute this file. All right. So in other words, can we redirect someone to another site and have them run something off that site via a cross-site script? So let's look at that. Now, this directory, the SRV, is the root directory for serving stuff to the web via the Apache server. So we're going to be Joomla my folders. That's the directory we'll have to point the victim to read stuff off here. We'll also need to know this machine's IP, which is 205. So now, going back and planning another cross-site scripting attack, we're going to log out as JM and log back in as JV the attacker. As remember, we always check to see if it affects us first. So let's go ahead and do like a hello to. All right, and then we'll plant the second script here. Now, for you guys that are enterprise developers, don't give me too much of a hard time on my syntax here. I'm not writing an enterprise application. I'm just trying to do like a little proof of concept here. 205, I believe it was, and the directory was Joomla, my folders, and I named that file grabcookie.php. So we want to make them go execute that. All right. So let's. Yeah. All right. So that's it. That's all we need. So now if we check it, I'm going to go ahead and post it. So what we're looking for is on the Joomla site. All right. Currently, there is no cookiejar.txt file. So if this works, what should happen is, as a result of this being posted and JV running it, his cookie should be there in a text file named cookiejar.txt. So we go ahead and post it, get our pop-up. Now we go check the Joomla server in that directory, and now we can see that there is a cookiejar.txt file that wasn't there before. And inside it should be that user's, cookie, and we can see that it is. So easily what we've been able to do is, via cross-site scripting, have the victim come to a site that we control, execute a file off our site, which took something out of his browser session and wrote it to our machine so that we could use that. All right. And there's all kinds of scenarios you can draw up from that. So, but remember, the real test here is we need to see if it'll affect other users that way. So let's get rid of the cookiejar.txt, not there, and see if when JM logs into the site, he's affected the same way. So we're going to log out from JV, log in as JM, have JM view the posted messages. He gets a pop-up. So let's go see if indeed he wrote his cookie here. So we check. Yep, there absolutely is another file there. So we look at it and we can see that it worked against JM as well. So that's like a good way to start. Now we could go all day on this, because we could then say, oh, well, what if we put, there's a popular in the hacker community, there's a PHP object called backdoor.php. And what it does is it just, if you're able to read it, it literally opens up a backdoor on the machine. So you can now go to that machine IP/backdoor.php, and now you have a command shell type access there that you can run through that PHP object. So that is kind of like where the danger is. And again, the point here with cross-site scripting is we're able to exploit the browser because the browser is blindly trusting what it sees on the actual site that you're visiting. And that's just scripting. Now, request forgeries is a little more involved. So let's move on and look at that. Right, so we'll be using the OWASP web app server here for this one. And it's 183. Okay. So what I'll do then is we'll use this Linux machine as the client here. Right, so I think this thing is probably needs to be reset. So let's do that. Set it back to default. Right, now it's back to default. So the default login is admin. So the scenario that I laid out earlier, remember with cross-site request forgery, the way we were exploiting Donna in her Chase account that she doesn't want to tell us about is we said that she's got to be already logged in her Chase account. So we're going to count this as Chase. And then while she's visiting another site in another tab, perhaps, she visits a script that we planted that basically tells her in the background to go back to her Chase account and change her password. And if Chase allows you to change your password without re-authenticating, that script might work to actually have her change her password because she's already in an authenticated state over here. So that's something like the criteria that's required for cross-site request forgeries to actually work, Ian, right? So that's what we're basically looking at. Now, saying that, there's a couple other things that you have to consider. So let me pull up the second site. Now, the first thing that I would do before I would attack Donna is I have to go get a Chase account for myself. So let's just say that, I'm opening my own Chase account. I go in, I want to check what the process is for changing passwords because I need to load that logic in order to be able to send her back and do the same thing. So I'm changing my password to Moon, okay? MOON. Change it. It says passwords change, but here's one flaw in the application. Look at the post request up here. In the URL, notice the password that I picked. It actually shows it up here in the URL in clear. Now, most modern applications won't do that. What they'll do, which is something that's almost as bad, is it'll show it. And here's what they actually do. Let me pull this up.